Well, let's go back down to Washington, D.C., where Yahoo Finance's Aikiko Fujita is live at the IMF World Bank Spring Meeting. We have finance ministers, central bankers from around the world gathering down in D.C. Aikiko, what is the latest?
Hi there, Miles. That's right. We've got all the financial leaders here in place, and we saw IMF Managing Director Christine Lagarde address those attendees earlier this morning. And her message really can be boiled down to two things. Number one, she said, do no harm. Number two, do the right thing. Specifically, she's talking about what's happening on the macro front globally. While the IMF has downgraded its outlook for the global economy from 3.5% to 3.3%, saying the risks to the downside have increased over the last 6 months, Lagarde has also said that a lot of this has been self-inflicted. She believes that this can be fixed, this can be righted. Specifically, she talked about addressing the global distortions in trade, reforming the WTO, and also, of course, talking about a resolution to Brexit, which we are nowhere clearer to finding. One of the other issues that has been raised in many of these sessions is this increasing debt load that countries are taking on from Chinese lending. We, of course, are talking about Belt and Road, that initiative now topping about $900 billion in loans. And the concern on that front is that countries that are taking on that load, if they're unable to repay the Chinese, could be beholden to the Chinese government, both politically and economically. Lagarde was asked about how concerned she was on that front and what the IMF's role could be in improving transparency on that front. Take a listen.
We are constantly encouraging both borrowers and lenders to align as much as possible with the debt principles that have been approved by the G20 and that we have endorsed internally and developed ourselves. It's clear that any debt restructuring programs going forward in the years to come will be more complicated than debt restructuring programs that were conducted 10 years ago, simply because of the multiplicity of lenders and the fact that not all public debt is offered by members of the Paris Club, for instance.
David Malpass, the new president of the World Bank, was also asked about his concerns about Chinese lending, specifically because he has talked in the past about how the World Bank should no longer be lending to the Chinese, especially given their economic standing and how much the economy there has grown. He characterized the relationship between the Chinese and the World Bank as evolving, saying that he believes the Chinese will increasingly become lenders instead of borrowers. He said that he had met with President Xi Jinping. He believes the World Bank and the Chinese will continue on a constructive front, and said that he wouldn't rule out coordinating with the Asian Investment Infrastructure Bank, which is, of course, the Chinese version of the World Bank in some ways, moving forward on addressing the issue of poverty as it relates to the World Bank.
All right. Yahoo Finance's Aikiko Fujita live in D.C. Thanks so much.